Hi there, Eve here from Vitamin Eve Nutrition Counseling, and today we're going to talk about the 3 things you need to do to stop your binge eating. I'm making this video because there's so much information out there about the 7 things, the 13 things you need to do to stop binge eating, and it boils down to 3 things, and I really wanted to simplify things for you so you know exactly what to look at to make sure you're not doing these things and you could stop your binge eating already. So if you like this video, be sure to like it, share it with your friends, comment below. I'd love to know what stands out to you. So the first thing that I want you to do to stop your binge eating is to start to eat normally. And what does it mean to eat normally? Okay, I'm putting air quotes because everybody's normal looks different. There are a few things, and I'm gonna go over each of them. One of them is eating at normal intervals. Okay, you heard that. Eating at normal intervals. No more meal skipping. So if you're having your first meal at noon, you know what? That counts as meal skipping, especially for those of you who wake up like at 6 or 7 in the morning. If you're waiting that long to eat, don't do that. That's gonna cause your binge eating, okay? So no long gaps in between meals, okay? If you're having your breakfast in the morning and you're skipping lunch because you're so busy all day and then you come home and you end up overeating, that counts as meal skipping. So eating at normal intervals, not going too long without eating. So this is really, really huge, and this is a big mistake I see a lot of people making because they're mad at their eating, and to punish themselves or to compensate for it, they're having long gaps in between their meals. Look, as long as you're having long gaps between your meals, you might be likely to binge or overeat, okay? So this is really key. And there's something out there called intermittent fasting, right? And what is that? None other than long gaps between meals. And I know there's a lot of information about intermittent fasting and that everybody at your gym is doing it. And so is your trainer. I mean, I know your trainer is telling you to do it too. But I get to hear the dark side. I get to hear people sharing that when they do the intermittent fasting, it's all great and happy when it's working. But when they're not fasting, I'm hearing all these stories of people binging, overeating, feeling out of control with food, and being obsessed, okay? So remember, one of the things when it comes to healing your binge eating is to have normal intervals in between your meals. No more meal skipping. No more going beyond 4 or 5 hours without eating while you're awake. You don't need to wake yourself up in the middle of the night, because otherwise, if you're going long gaps, if there are long gaps between your meals, expect to overeat. The second part of eating normally also includes having normal quantities. Okay, if you're having 1 grain of rice and you're thinking that's enough carbohydrates, let me tell you something. It really isn't, right? So quantities could be something that, are kind of vague. And so sometimes I say, watch a normal eater eat. That's a great quantity to look at. Or fill a normal size plate up with food. That's a normal quantity. Learning what fullness feels like, and I'll get to that in a little bit, that's also a normal quantity. So, you could even look at serving sizes. There are a lot of ways to do this. Look at American Dietetic Association or the American Diabetic Association if you want to learn some ideas of what normal portions are. Because something I see a lot of people do is that they're not serving themselves enough food. They're not having adequate nutrition in their meals, and because they're having lettuce with a breast of chicken on it, and there isn't enough of a quantity of carbs, for instance, that they end up overeating later. They end up binging because nutritionally they don't have enough. Another example is somebody who decides to be vegan but doesn't serve themselves adequate protein. They might throw some sunflowers on their salad and think that's enough protein, and it really isn't. So serving yourself adequate proteins and carbohydrates and fats and all these things in your meals. And if you don't know how to do this, I totally get it. If you want help with any of this, you could sign up for a free call with me. The link is going to be in the description. So, I'm here to help you with this. But again, if you want to stop your binge eating, part of eating normally is the normal intervals between your food, and also serving yourself normal quantities, okay? So if you're eating a snack bar for lunch, if you're doing meal replacers, that's really not adequate for an adult who's moving and grooving in their lives, to have adequate nutrition. So again, I want you to think of the intervals. I want you to think of the quantity of food that you're serving yourself and making sure that's normal. What are some tips to make sure that's normal? There are a bunch of resources out there like the American Diabetic Association, Dietetic Association, but also if you were serving me some food, if you thought Eve is coming over, I'm going to serve her a plate of food, what would I put on that plate for her? That's what you want to be giving yourself. And the third part of eating normally is eating normal foods, eating actual normal foods. Okay, this might sound really simplistic, but I can't tell you how many people think that it's appropriate or they want to live off of powders, powder foods or stuff like this. Please, no. Okay, or the low fat version, or the no calorie, or the no carb this, the no carb noodles, or seaweed for lunch. No, people, you need adequate food. It needs to be real food, normal food. I'm not saying you can't do the light version or the the low fat milk or whatever. I'm not saying that. But is all of your food the mutilated version? You want to make sure that the foods that you're giving yourself are the normal, satisfying, normal foods. I remember back in the day when I used to be a personal trainer. What was really popular back then was something that rhymes with Murba Murba I guess you could guess what that is. And I know people who are a part of that program, a lot of them were sharing how they don't believe that we should be eating foods anymore, that we should all be having pills and powders, and that's an adequate way to get your nutrition. And guess what? It really isn't. So you want to make sure that you're having foods, okay, to having that normal food thing. So when it comes to no longer binge eating, the first category is normal, okay? Having normal gaps between your meals, normal quantities, and normal types of food, not the diet type. Now the second area that I want you to look at is to heal your binge eating is feeling the feels. Okay, don't run. Okay, I know a lot of you want to run away right now. I understand. And this is the one thing that a lot of people who want to heal their relationship with food either don't know how to do or not willing to do. And I love helping my clients with this because this is huge, okay? Learning how to feel the ups and downs of your life without using something to soothe you, okay? As somebody put it so well, it's not that we need to try to make ourselves feel better all the time. It's that we need to start getting better at feeling. Okay, I'll say that again because I love it so much. It's not that we need to keep on trying to make ourselves feel better. It's that we need to get better at feeling, okay? And that's going to be huge in healing your relationship with food, is learning how to feel the range of what it means to be human without trying to numb it out, without trying to fog it out. And again, this is a lot of people out there who don't know. They're like, I don't know why I ate. It seems like a mystery. I'm talking to you. It's oftentimes because we can't feel what's uncomfortable that's coming forward. So if you're going to feel the range of your feelings, well, welcome to being a human. There are going to be some uncomfortable things in there. Some people begin to have an existential crisis of what's happening in their lives. And if that's you, hey, no wonder you've been avoiding feeling your feelings, right? You're in the right place. So if you're curious, am I doing it right? If it feels uncomfortable, if it feels like, oh my gosh, where is the food, or get me out of here, chances are you're doing it right. I know this is the worst advertisement for feeling your feelings, but I want you to know, I'm boiling it down for you for the 3 things to do to end your binge eating. Okay, so far we talked about eating normally. The second category is learning how to feel your feelings. And if you don't know how, I want you to know you are not alone. I am one of those people that in my adult life is when I learned how to feel the full range of my feelings without having to turn to something. So if this is resonating with you, there's nothing wrong, you're not broken. It's just a skill that some of us learn later in life. And if that's you, hey, welcome to the party. That's me too. So that's the second thing. And some people say, wait, Eve, it feels like I'm having an existential crisis, or there's a lot of anxiety, or I'm feeling really depressed, or I'm crying. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds about right. Okay, I'm not saying don't get a mental health provider. I'm not saying don't address these things, but there's a lot to be felt. If you're feeling numb and checked out, when you awaken to your feelings, it could feel kind of intense because you've been numbing yourself out for a while. And the great metaphor that I love, especially for those of you who haven't felt feelings in a while, it's almost like you have a soda can and somebody shook the can and you finally opened it. And in the beginning, all this soda sprays out because it's been, there's been all that pressure, finally you opened it and, the soda came out. But the cool thing is after a while, it's not as intense anymore. Okay, so if in the beginning it's too intense, don't worry, it's not gonna last too long. And again, and having somebody like me support you during this journey can make all the difference. And so the third area that is an important part of healing your relationship with food and ending this binge eating already, because you don't need to struggle, is acceptance. Yes, I know that sounds really random. Accepting what there is to accept. Accepting yourself. Accepting the fact that you're a human in a body, and humans in bodies need food, right? So, okay, what does that mean to fully accept yourself? Accept that it's not going to be a clean journey. It's not going to be, what I mean by that is that it's not going to be perfect. There are going to be times when eating doesn't go the way that you want it to, that you get a flat tire, that somebody breaks up with you, I don't know, that your hair doesn't look perfect, or whatever it is, you lose your job, you get into arguments, that this is life. Learning to accept what's going on in your life. It doesn't mean you have to like it. It doesn't even mean that you have to be happy with it. It doesn't mean that you don't even want to change it. You could want to change it. But the first step in making anything happen in your life is learning how to accept you, learning how to love and like you. So oftentimes people tell themselves, okay, once I heal my relationship with food, then I'll do this. Then I'll take myself on a date to a coffee shop, or then I'll get that massage, or then I'll take that dance class. Do you know what kind of message that sends to you? That is so mean. It's like such conditional love that we're giving ourselves. So if that's you, listen up, because this is huge for you. There's a part of our psychology that does not want to be put in the corner. Hey, nobody puts baby in the corner. In fact, when we do that, we're more likely to be upset. And as we know, when we're upset, we're more likely to binge eat. Or if we're feeling unheard or dismissed or, made invalidated or inferior, this part of us, inside of us, is going to rail against that and try to get your attention by using food, right? Because I want you to know, as much as you hate your binge eating, as mad as it makes you, as embarrassed as it makes you, or shameful as it makes you, that's how bad this part inside of you is trying to get your attention. So that's why I feel like it's really important to learn how to accept yourself, where you are in your food struggle, where you are in your life, with your career, with your relationships, with your health, whatever is going on. And it doesn't mean don't try to change it, but it does mean being kind to yourself, accepting that this is going on, and that you're not going to wait till later to be kind to yourself. You're not going to wait till later to be alive. The key message here is to be alive and to be awake as you're going through this process of your life. So those are the three things. I'm going to repeat them real quick here, just so if you're taking notes, you can note these three areas. And I'm curious for you. What is standing out for you other than my new background? I mean, I know that's wonderful, but what is standing out for you? Of these three things, what do you need to work on the most? Okay, so we said one is eat normally. So important, and you can't bypass this one. Okay, I'm sharing this in a particular order. Okay, so if you want to know which one to work on first, it's learning how to eat normally, feeding yourself as a normal person. Because if you're restricting, hey, you're likely to binge. Okay. The second thing is to feel the feels. Learn how to expand your capacity to feel the ups and downs in life. And I know I'm totally simplifying all of this. And if you need any help with any of this, there's going to be a link in the description of this video. And so you're welcome to have a free call with me. And the third area is to accept what's going on, building this relationship with yourself. Ultimately, when you heal your relationship with food, part of what begins happening as you do that, or it's the other way around, as you start to build your relationship with yourself without having these conditions that someday I'll be nice to myself, or I have to wait until this condition happens, until I let myself be kind to myself. Guess what? You are more likely to heal your relationship with food. So that third one, I called it acceptance. You could call it building a relationship with yourself, or you could call it be here now, whatever you want to call it. You can't get past that. So I hope this video is helpful. I really want to hear your comments of what you thought about this video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.